In this episode of r/EntitledPeople, this horrible woman does one of the most despicable things I can think of. Entitled sister-in-law tries to take credit for large cancer fundraiser donation. So, context. My mother has a friend that has terminal cancer. She got diagnosed about a year or so ago, and it recently went terminal. She only has a few months left. So her friends and family decided to have a fundraiser in her honor to help cover medical/afterlife/bucket list costs, as well as help the family out after she passes. This lady is an amazing person. Everyone in town knows and loves her. She's a hairdresser and has been doing my mum's hair for ages. My mum has been a big part of the planning and fundraising for this event. There are a handful of this woman's friends and family taking part in it. However, most of them live an hour or so away, so the businesses and people they are getting donations from are not in our town and they don't know anyone. So, my mum took it upon herself to call dang near every business in town. Family-owned shops and restaurants, chain shops and restaurants, travel agencies, insurance agencies, big places of employment, etc., as well as donations from the general public. She even got our local Walmart to donate. She's gotten everything from small items, gift cards, whole baskets, massages, discounts. She even got our local airport to donate 2 30-minute airplane rides around our country. That is phenomenal. And the latest place to donate was our bowling alley. The guy who runs and owns the place is amazing. He also coaches both our high school bowling teams. When my mum called him, he said that he's going to take a bit to think about what to donate because he wants to do something other than just a free bowl or two. He ended up ordering 2 new bowling balls and is donating them along with 2 one-hour bowling parties for 10 bowlers. That's like a $400 donation overall, at least. So anyway, he told her last week when he called to confirm what he's donating to call back in a week, today, to check if it's in and if she can come and pick it up. She's been posting thanks on Facebook for the donators and telling them what they've donated to kind of give a peek at what the auction baskets will include. So she called today to ask if it's in and if and when she can pick it up. She was informed then that someone already had. My mum was not made aware that someone else was picking it up. She posted about the donation on Facebook and added in the group chat that they have for their friends and family. No one outside of that chat knew that she hadn't picked them up yet. So she messaged them all asking if one of them had grabbed it and forgot to tell her. But they had no clue what she was talking about. We thought maybe some jackwagon saw the post and decided to take it for themselves. I called the owner and asked if he knew who picked the stuff up, and he said Janet. He said that since she was family, he thought that we'd sent her. My mum texted the group chat asking if anyone knew who she was, and it turns out that she is the woman's husband's sister. This sister is not in any of the group chats and hasn't attended any of the meetings regarding the fundraiser or the planning. The woman's daughter is in the group chat and is very active in the planning and the fundraising. She called her mum and asked if she heard from the sister and if she's seen the bowling balls or certificates, and her mum said that the sister had actually brought them to her home, saying that she had got this huge donation from the bowling alley. Now, none of the other donations have been going to her house. We don't want to clutter up her house and cause her stress trying to help plan, so the friends and family have been keeping the stuff at their houses until it's time for the fundraiser. So there's no other reason for her to take them to her house other than to take credit for it. I just don't understand why she would take it upon herself to go and pick up a huge donation that she didn't take part in without telling my mother, the one who got the donation, that she didn't need to go and pick it up because she had it covered. She took it straight to the woman's house without asking the group that's planning where we're storing the donations. And she didn't tell anyone that she took it. She doesn't even live in our town. She lives 30 minutes away, so she had to go so out of her way to pick this up. She took it to her sister-in-law's house, trying to take credit for this huge donation when she hasn't put in a lick of work for this fundraiser, and left us worried that someone else had just taken our donation and ran off with it. Honestly, after reading this, I kind of would have rathered it be someone just steal the donation and keep it for themselves. This, if anything, is worse. At least if someone went and just stole the donation, you'd say, you know what, that's a real shame. Isn't it so sad that these things happen and people out there exist? It's terrible. However, what the sister-in-law has actually done here is try to just completely devalue the entirety of your mum's work and the number of other donations that have been made from, an insane amount of people, it sounds like. If she is claiming this as her own, what does that then mean for everybody else who's actually done the work? Do you kind of get what I'm saying? So yeah, although I'm sure you'll get the donation back and that's unbelievable, the fact that she has put this doubt perhaps into the woman's mind, into everyone else's mind about who's actually raising the money or what's going on here is crazy. It's so much more selfish than if some randomer had just stolen the donation in the first place. She knows the level that your mum has gone to, the effort that your mum has put in to get these unbelievable donations. Yet she's still done this. The audacity. Not just the program that I'm using to record this audio on right now, niche joke, but the audacity. Now for our next Entitled People story. Friend invited me and husband to stay with her for a week, and then, the day before we left, gave me an itemized list of all the things we did that I needed to pay for. Okay, look, I get helping to pay for some things when you're staying with someone, but I was just blown away when she gave me this rundown list for things we did. She was my best friend. I'd known her since I was 8 and we're now 50. Sure, we've grown apart since then because now she lives in another country and I rarely see her, but she kept begging us to come and visit her and her husband. They'd put us up for our entire stay and even offered to throw my husband a 50th birthday party because we'd be there during his birthday. Quite honestly, if I invited someone to stay with me, there's no way I'd be asking for any money from them. I can't imagine doing that. I was going to give her some money for things like the room they paid for when we went to another city and stayed over, but there were other things that I was like, wow, really? But she didn't simply ask for some money. She actually gave me an itemized list of what I owed her. Half of everything we did. My best friend, and she listed things down to the dime of what we owed her. So here is the list. $152.10 for a stay at a hotel room in another city. Okay, this I get. $105 for gas, for them driving us around town and out of town during our stay to show us the sights. $90 for birthday food for my husband's birthday party. This I get as well, I guess, but if you offer to throw a party for someone, you don't usually expect them to pay for half of it. Yeah, sorry, I disagree with you there, OP. I do not get that at all. They've offered to throw the birthday party. That's like they're offering to pay for it as well. That's kind of what that means, no? $136 on car rental. When we flew to another island with them for a couple of days, I get this as well. All right, that seems reasonable. $21 gas, I guess for around town driving. Wait, so that's on top of the gas that they've already charged you for, what? $6.50 for parking, for freaking parking the car in the city for one day. Really? And then $27 for airport parking, when we parked the car at the airport before taking a flight to the other island for 2 days. Really? So in total, that is $537.80. I was just blown away by this. I would have given them a couple of $100 to cover the hotel room and birthday food, but actually asking us to pay for the gas to drive us around and parking is ridiculous. Especially the measly $6.50. And the fact that it wasn't just $500, but $537.80. They asked us to come visit, and then unbeknownst to us the whole time, they were tallying up all these things that we did to split the cost of everything. They came and stayed with us a few years earlier, and I certainly didn't give them a tally of the groceries they owed or the gas spent driving them around. You ask someone to stay with you, then you pay for things. I mean, what can I seriously add to what I've already said? It's just so painfully obvious. This is just not the way to treat someone ever. If you were inviting someone to stay with you, it's pretty much just kind of a given that everything is on you, right? Now, a nice person in that situation would definitely offer to pay for things and would pay for things. I think that's accepted. At least pay for a nice meal out or pay for a trip somewhere or whatever. Contribute to what you're doing, the activities. Got no problem with that. As OP has said, they're more than happy to pay for certain things here. But when you're getting an itemized bill, including something that's worth $6.50, like how petty is that? That is just insane. You can't be dealing with that, and you've got to be rethinking this friendship. Seriously, that's mad. Now for our next Entitled People story. Now this has actually been in the news recently, a crazy post. Women involved in the theft of Lady Gaga's dogs sued the singer for not giving her deserved reward for returning them. Her case was just thrown out of court. Lady Gaga owns 3 French bulldogs. While she was touring in Europe, she had an employee take care of them. While he was out walking the dogs one night, 2 men jumped out of a car and tried to take the dogs. During a struggle, Gaga's dog walker was shot in the chest, causing permanent injuries, including partial loss of a lung. Gaga posted on Instagram offering a $500,000 reward, no questions asked, for the return of the dogs. Not for the apprehension of the criminals to punish the attempted murder, just the return of the dogs. This distinction is relevant. 3 men, James, Jalen, and Lafayette, were arrested and charged with a list of felonies. Jalen's father is Harold. Harold was dating Jennifer. After seeing the reward offer, Jalen gave the dogs to Jennifer, who took them to the police station, turned them in, and asked for the reward. At first, no connection to the crime was made, but eventually it was determined that her boyfriend's son stole the dogs and gave them to her to collect the reward. She eventually pled guilty to receiving stolen property and received 2 years of felony probation. But she then demanded that Gaga pay her the $500,000 as per her oral contract. When Gaga refused, Jennifer sued for breach of contract, fraud by false promise, and fraud by misrepresentation, asking for the $500,000 plus $15 million on top of that for financial damages, pain and suffering, mental anguish, and loss of enjoyment of life, plus legal fees. Wow. Her claim is that she would not have returned the dogs if not for the promised reward, and therefore was defrauded because she ended up with no dogs. To keep or to sell, this is unclear, and no reward. Wow, what a lovely person. She wouldn't have returned the dogs if not for the promised reward. Just admitting you'd steal the dogs then, you clown. The judge ultimately dismissed her lawsuit with prejudice, which means she cannot attempt to file it again. Jennifer said she didn't know about the plan to steal the dogs ahead of time, but as the judge pointed out, she never claimed to not know the dogs were stolen by her boyfriend's son when she received them or when she turned them in. Notably, she never alleges that she was unaware that the bulldogs had been stolen after they were stolen or at the time that she received them. That is a direct quote. Wow, what an interesting story. To be honest, I'd forgotten really about the Lady Gaga dog fiasco and the fact that the dog walker almost died. I mean, that would have been absolutely awful. But this woman, the audacity once again to do this is just insane. Like, why, if you're going to have a go and try and get this money, why would you not say that you didn't know that the dogs were stolen? Because by not saying that, surely you're just kind of welcoming or encouraging people, the police, really, to have a look at your situation and say, I wonder who you're related to and may they have stolen the dogs. Oh yes, they have. What a surprise. Apart from the fact I'm not surprised at all. I mean, look, clearly this entire family are just disgraceful humans. It's mad that this many people in one family are this horrible. Yeah, stealing dogs in the first place, I mean, one of the worst things you can possibly do. And then saying, I wouldn't have even given them back if it wasn't for the reward. Well, yeah, you're just a horrible person, aren't you? Simple as that. More like entitled family rather than entitled people here. And now for our final entitled people story of this episode. Someone in my old neighborhood wants a free house. I found a letter in the mailbox when my wife and I listed our house last year. I have redacted identifying info. Hey neighbor, I hope this letter finds you well and in good spirits. I write this confident that it will find its way to someone willing to help me fulfill a very lofty goal. Over the years, I've longed to live in and raise my children and grandchildren in a safe, friendly, energetic, peaceful, clean neighborhood with good schools. I often pondered what it was like to live on the other side of the tracks, literally. On my way home from work, I'd veer off through the neighborhoods and imagine having a home here in this thriving neighborhood. It was always the trees for me. I earnestly believed that one day I'd make it happen, but unfortunately, I haven't. I've worked my tail off and managed my way through many, many obstacles, but I haven't hit that pinnacle. I do well for myself and live a well-rounded, happy life, and I'm uber grateful for what I have. I just don't think I'll ever be able to afford a home in this neighborhood on one income, especially with the market the way it is and no end in sight, unless something marvelous happens. Therefore, I am reaching out to the community to find out if there is anyone out there that would like to donate a home to me or sell me one at a ridiculously low sale price. I know, the audacity, but there are those with abundance looking to bless someone. I see it every day. I even participate where I can. I promise to be a good neighbor and to love it and appreciate it for the rest of my life. I realize this is a radical idea, but who knows what's out there? someone that has way more than enough and would love to pass their home on to someone that simply asked, has two and is ready to move to their warm weather home and doesn't need to turn a profit, someone that's just plain sick of humans and is going off grid, someone that just wants to pay it forward or could write it off, someone that bought a fixer-upper and life changed. I'm very handy. I'm getting older though. Or someone that just hit the Powerball and is leaving everything behind. Maybe you know someone with a home elsewhere, in a community just as lovable. Well, please do pass the letter on. You never know. So here I am, asking. My dad always said, a closed mouth don't get fed. I'm currently renting in Redacted, and I love it, with the constant increase in rent that may not last much longer. I've worked for Redacted for almost 20 years. Well, when I started passing out this letter, I did. Unfortunately, I was part of their layoffs this week. I've attended a women's group in the area for 15 years as well. All reasons that I've intentionally left my name out of this. I'm hoping to save face for now. I made an email for responses to this letter. Please, no hurtful or hateful messages. I've seen the nasty comments on the forums, and I assure you that I am a good person with a good heart and good intentions. I'll provide you with my full name, address, references, background check, no resale contract, you name it, should you find interest in my request. Otherwise, thank you for simply reading my letter. So long for now. Turns out there are roughly 15,000 homes in this area, so I have a lot of work to do. Serious inquiries only, and then they've put the email address. You know what? I'm going to give a controversial opinion here. I see absolutely nothing wrong with this. In fact, I quite like it. And I know the voice that I used there when narrating this was a little bit silly, a little bit entitled as I tend to do. But genuinely, what's wrong with this? It's not harming anybody. This person shot their shot, and I say fair play. Who knows? If they have the time and the money and the effort level to print out a piece of paper with these words on and put it in the letterbox of 15,000 homes, then fair play. Maybe they'll get lucky. Who knows? I mean, what are the chances? You might find someone, I mean, sad though it may be, an elderly person that is on their way, for want of a better saying, has no family. I mean, this is quite sad actually, but go with me on this. Has no family to really let their house to. And they just say, you know what, yeah, sure, have it. And what do? We work all our lives to be able to buy lovely houses in lovely neighborhoods. If you can circumvent that and shortcut that by doing this, I say power to you, my friend. You know, this is the sort of sideways thinking outside the box that has amazing results. Now, that being said, it probably won't, let's be honest. But if there's a 1% chance that this comes off, even if there's a 0.1% chance, what are you really losing apart from a little bit of time? You're not losing your face, as you said, because no one knows who you are. Personally, I love it. I don't even think it's that entitled. I think it's just a fair request. I know a lot of you guys in the comments will disagree with me. I hold my hands up. It's an unpopular opinion, but I really rate it. It seems almost entrepreneurial. It's clever thinking. I quite like it. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. Get your comments in for all 4 of those stories. A couple of super interesting ones. The last 2, I mean, the Lady Gaga one is just a real story that involves a high profile person. I mean, that's super interesting. And the last one, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. I really, really do. I know I'm going to be in the minority, but I don't care. I say what I think. If you enjoyed it and you want more from me right away, check out the video on screen or link down below if you're on a podcast platform. And if you're new to my content, subscribe, hit the follow button, whatever it is that you can see, do it. Do it right now.